Merry Christmas. I have moved a lot in my life. By my best count, between the year 2000 and 2010, I moved 21 times. And to be honest, the moving never really bothered me. What did bother me was the packing. The countless boxes and the need to find a place for everything, only then to take that everything somewhere else, and then try to find a new place for it. A new place that might be better or worse than the old place, so only time will tell, because life moves on. To me, the most frustrating part of packing isn't the big things. Those are easy. A table or a sofa certainly doesn't need a box. Nor is it the things that fit uniformly, like books or videos or even clothes, each one in a box with their kin. What gets me are the last few boxes, the ones done in a rush, the catch-alls. Those containers filled with the odds and ends that were put off until the very end for whatever the reason. Maybe it was Grandmom's vase that has been handed down from generation to generation and now needs to be handled with kid gloves. So it is the last thing packed, so it can be the last thing on the truck and the first thing off of the truck. Maybe it was the clock on the wall that every time you walked by it while you were packing, you said to yourself, "Don't forget the clock, don't forget the clock, don't forget the clock," until you forgot the clock. And now you just remembered it. Maybe it was all the things in your battery drawer. The pencils, the pens that may or may not work, the cords, the thermometers, the keys to things that you may or may not still own or even remember. All those things that seem to somehow both live and multiply in there. Maybe it was the sock drawer, because in the rush of packing, in that moment of getting things done and getting things gone, it was simply overlooked, and now the socks have to go somewhere. Maybe it was the last towel in your bathroom that you had forgotten until you peeked your head in one more time. Or that spare set of keys that you lent to a friend or family member that were helping you on that day, helping you pack and helping you move. And then the next thing you know, Grandma's vase has socks in it, and the clock on the wall is wrapped in the bathroom towel. Or everything in your battery drawer is now hiding your spare set of keys that you tossed in there and tossed in a box with simply a question mark on the outside of it. We know that we'll find them again. You'll find them again when you have time to unpack, if you make it through all the boxes. Maybe you'll find them when you are looking for them in that unpacking process. Maybe you'll find them when you're not expecting. Or maybe you'll find them not when you want to, but when you need to. And in that moment, oh so serendipitously, you'll be reminded of the friends and family who came and helped you on that day. You'll be reminded of that old place where the things used to be, back when life seemed simpler. When we move, for whatever the reason, and when we move quickly, when we rush, we might misplace treasured things, especially as life has a way of rushing us all. Mary gives birth to Jesus, wrapped him in bands of cloth, and laid him on a manger because there was no room for them in the inn. It wasn't in their home. They were on the move. They were not moving, but they were on the move. They were in Bethlehem, there for the census, there without a bed. As the morning came, they would pack up what they had unpacked the night before and continue on their way. They would pack up now with a baby in arms, now carrying the memories of that holy and silent night, carrying the memories of the visit of the shepherds, carrying the memories of the awesome story that the shepherds had told them. And I wonder, after that night, after the journey back to Nazareth, what happened to those bands of cloth? I believe that Mary kept them, a treasure that only a mother could fully grasp. And as they returned home to Nazareth, Jesus was washed and placed in a simple garment. And as Jesus lay washed and changed, I imagine that Mary washed those bands of cloth and folded them, maybe once, maybe twice, and slid them into the pocket of her tunic. A reminder of that silent and holy night, a reminder of Gabriel that came and told Mary of God's promise and task for her, A reminder of the shepherds and the story that they told of the heavenly hosts that join in a song that extends beyond time and space. It is a song that we join on this night. A song, a memory that we carry beyond tonight as life pushes forward, ever moving along. Still, on the 8th day, when Jesus was circumcised, I wonder if Mary took those bands of cloth with them as a familiar reminder to the infant Christ and to herself that everything would be okay, using those bands of cloth to wipe away the infant's tears. When it came time for the purification rite, and she and Joseph had to travel with their baby to Jerusalem, I imagine her holding the bands of cloth tightly in her pocket, and then showing them to Joseph as a reminder that with God all things are possible. They had experienced that. All things are possible, even travel with an infant. As Jesus grew from a child to a man, I wonder how many times Mary held those bands of cloth, running her fingers over the familiar cloth, pressing it between her fingers, feeling the fabric rub upon itself as she remembered that silent and holy night, holding on to the memory as she wished she could hold on to her son throughout his life, as she wished she could continue to hold him like a babe in arms. And when Mary heard the murmurings, when she heard the stories, after she saw what she saw on Golgotha at the crucifixion, and heard the stories about the open grave, when she heard about the bands of cloth found there, I wonder if the first thing she did was put her hand in her pocket, reaching for the familiar, that physical memory in its old familiar place, that touchstone of tonight. We don't know, to be honest. Maybe those bands of cloth ended up in a box at some point, wrapped around Jesus' baby teeth, or holding the holy relics of Jesus' first haircut. Maybe she held it and rubbed it and held it and prayed with it and wiped tears until it all but dissolved, worn away by a life of love, a life of care, a life of memories and of worries, a life that was supported by that holy and silent night. Tonight we come back to this place. We do so this year and every year to remember the details. The bands of cloth that wrapped Jesus, the hay that someone left in a manger, the candle in Joseph's lantern, the sound of cud being chewed by the sheep as the shepherds brought their flocks into Bethlehem to find the Christ child. This experience is here and now at our fingertips. Through the hustle and bustle of this season, the boxes packed and wrapped and shipped, the travel and the rushing, we are given this gift. A reminder of all of those gathered that day, and the ones we remember gathering with in our own lives, as we join that multitude of the heavenly host that sing tonight. A reminder of how it used to be, when things seemed so much simpler. A reminder of that night, of those angels, of that child, of God's love for each and every one of us. Friends, receive that gift, the gift of God's love for you. Receive the memory and the reassurance of God's love for you. Unpack it from the boxes of your memory tucked away in the hurry and busyness of life as we all rush from thing to thing. Receive that gift that is wrapped like bands of cloth in, with, and under Jesus Christ, our Savior and Lord, for each and every one of us tonight. Receive God's love for you and carry it with you. Soon tonight will become tomorrow. Time keeps moving, rushing us all along. And with that, the memories of this evening might be packed away with tinsel and trees, or left in boxes with well-meaning iPad chargers or air fryers. But tonight, return to the manger, receive the gift and love of God, and rest here in this place. Tonight, hear the truth that is in the details, That when we speak of God's love for the world, that means you. When we say that Christ was sent to the entire world, for the entire world, that means you. And even if you forget, or pack away that knowledge, when we find the bands of cloth again, Christ will be there to remind you again. Merry Christmas.